how's it going? Welcome to this video. We are still going through all of the lyrics on Taylor's Folklore album. I'm really stoked about it. Today I'm going to be looking at the lyrics to the song Illicit Affairs. How mysterious. I'm going through all the songs on Taylor Swift's newest album called Folklore, so make sure to subscribe if you are interested in more folklore content. After I go through all of the lyrics in depth, I'm going to be doing at the very least 2 summary videos, one about the love triangle theory and one just diving into folklore and how it exists as a cohesive entity. We know that Taylor is very intentional with everything and her music is supposed to be consumed as albums. I tend to concentrate on diction, which is word choice, and connotation, which can be thought of as like the vibes or the emotions that the words elicit. As a quick disclaimer, music is very subjective, so everything presented in this video is my own personal opinion. I always encourage you guys to comment down below what your thoughts are. If you have any songs that you'd like me to analyze in depth of any artist, go ahead and leave them down below. I'm going to be taking requests again more readily after I get closer to finishing this folklore album. Just trying to finish this album, you guys. There's a lot of songs. Not complaining though, they're all really great. When I first started going through this album, I made an effort to view each song as a separate entity, and I tried my best not to bring in any of the fan theories. However, it's becoming harder and harder to do that, especially after I did the song Cardigan, and then when I did the song Hoax, I just was seeing connections everywhere left and right. So I can't make any promises in this video. I'm gonna do my best to view this song as a separate standalone song, and like I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna be doing one video just talking about the love triangle theory. If you're not familiar, the love triangle theory states that there are 3 characters: James, Betty, and the other woman. How mysterious. Allegedly, James cheats on Betty with the other woman. The song Cardigan, which I've already analyzed, I'll link it for you guys, is supposed to be from the perspective of Betty. The song August, which I've also analyzed, I'll link it for you guys as well, is supposed to be from the perspective of the other woman. And the song Betty, which I will analyze shortly, is supposed to be from the point of view of James. I do think there are more than 3 songs that fit into that theory. I do think this theory is true. Taylor did mention that this album is not really that autobiographical, and there are characters and like plot lines that she made up, so it's very interesting. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's start off with looking at the title of the song. This song is called Illicit Affairs. I feel like I should be wearing like a trench coat and like big sunglasses and like maybe a beret. This just sounds very cute. I just feel like I need to be like all mysterious and just like creeping and stuff. That's definitely the vibe of this song. For me, when I hear the word illicit, I think of the word forbidden and mysterious. Let's actually look it up in a dictionary, an electronic dictionary. By the way, if I'm like looking, it's just where I have my lyrics and some notes, so I promise I am still paying attention to you. So the definition of the word illicit, according to a legit dictionary, is something that's forbidden by law, rules, or custom, something not permitted, not authorized. So it's pretty much doing something that you know you're not supposed to do. It's not like you're doing something on accident that you didn't know was wrong. You are doing something with the knowledge that it's not right. That's what the word illicit means. It's not an accident. You are making a conscious choice and a conscious decision to engage in a certain type of behavior. That's really important. To me, the word affair is a little ambiguous. Ambiguous just means that there's no set definition for it, so it can have multiple definitions, and that usually depends on the context it's in. The word affair can just be referring to an event. It can also be referring to a romantic affair when a person is cheating on another person, so like a love affair. There's definitely multiple ways to take that, and I think that they're both valid for this title. When we put the 2 words together, illicit, forbidden, an affair, a series of events, or a love affair, just connotes a feeling of apprehension. It kind of feels like you're holding your breath and you're just like, what's gonna happen? It's kind of suspenseful, but it's also shrouded in a very dark sort of vibe, in my opinion, because it's not anything positive. There is definitely mystery, but it's not really a fun type of mystery. It's a very heavy, like sinking sort of mystery, and as we get into the lyrics, we'll see how this illicit affair is going to affect the protagonist of this song. Protagonist just means the main character of a story. Verse 1. Make sure nobody sees you leave. Hood over your head. Keep your eyes down. Tell your friends you're out for a run. You'll be flushed when you return. Take the road less traveled by. Tell yourself you can always stop. What started in beautiful rooms ends with meetings in parking lots. Okay. Make sure nobody sees you leave. From the very first line, we know that this is not a chill situation. There is stuff happening here. There are secrets here, and there is just a lot of hiding and not really being able to live your life in a normal way. You know what I mean? To me, this song is an internal monologue by the protagonist who is engaging in these behaviors. I feel like she's kind of thinking about what's going on and reflecting on it, and just, you know, realizing how intense the situation is. Make sure nobody sees you leave. This line is telling us that whatever she's doing is not good. You hide things that you don't want people to know. Why doesn't she want anyone to see her? This protagonist is doing something she's not supposed to be doing. That's what the title of the song, Illicit Affairs, the word illicit, that's what that shows me. Hood over your head, keep your eyes down. We can tell from the very beginning of this song that the protagonist is engaging in behavior that no one can know about. There's many reasons people hide things, right? But we can tell by the title of this song, more specifically by the word illicit that I discussed earlier, that the protagonist is engaging in behavior that is not permitted. It's not something that people can know about because it's not something that is ethically correct or socially acceptable. At least in her opinion, right? Because she's the one who is doing the hiding. And when you're the one hiding something, it's because internally you know something is not right about it. I appreciate the specificity that Taylor uses here. You know, like putting a hood over your head, keeping your eyes down. As a listener or a reader, you can visualize what's happening a little bit better, and it draws you closer to the song. Keep your eyes down. So if you are trying not to be seen, it doesn't really matter if your eyes are down. You need to be concerned about other people seeing you. The fact that her eyes are down means that she is just exhibiting tunnel vision and she doesn't want to see anything around her. This to me connotes a feeling of shame. Pretend like when you were a kid and you would get in trouble, you would very rarely look at your parent and just be like, while they're lecturing you, right? You always look down. So when she's looking down, it's because she's ashamed. Her looking down is not gonna stop other people from seeing her. So the fact that she's looking down is just a reflection of her own internal vibe. It has nothing to do with the outside world. Tell your friends you're out for a run. You'll be flushed when you return. She has her, what's it called? Like an alibi. Oh, I'm flushed because I was out running. That's logical. That makes sense. I am assuming this is like her neighborhood friends when they see her come back. She's gonna be flushed because she's gonna be engaging in certain behaviors, but also because she's gonna be stressed. Like she's gonna go engage in this illicit affair, but then when she comes back, she's not gonna like stroll casually and like stop at the cafe and get like a pumpkin spice latte. No, she's gonna be like, okay, I need to get home where no one can see me, close the door behind me, draw the curtains, and just like relax for a sec, because this whole coming and going situation has been stressful. So she's already anticipating what's happening, and the fact that she has this alibi ready and she knows that she's going to be flushed when she returns means that this is not the first time this is happening. This is a regular occurrence. That's what those two lines are telling me. Tell yourself you can always stop. That lyric is showing me that there is an internal conflict. She is not all in. She is doing something that internally she knows is not right. Why else would you tell yourself to stop doing something? You know, it's because deep inside, you are not at complete peace with your decision, right? It's just, there's like friction there. And she's like, I can stop whenever I want. It's fine. The fact that this protagonist is telling themselves they can stop whenever they want is very significant and very heartbreaking. They're trying to create the illusion for themselves that they still have control, but they don't. Take the road less traveled by. I really like that specific lyric. There's two ways that I interpret it, and I think they're both valid. So like literally take a road that not many people are on because there's less risk that someone you know will see you, right? Like logistically. But also what this protagonist is doing, engaging in this behavior, is not the norm per se, right? I mean, people cheat and do things all the time, but perhaps in the protagonist's own world and their own like set of values, this is not the norm. The reason I say that is because there seems to be apprehension here. In the next line, the protagonist talks about how they can stop whenever they want. And you know, the fact that they're hiding, it shows that there is an internal struggle here. They're not at peace with their decision. They're not chill about it. And if they're not chill about it, it means that they know there's something wrong. The road less traveled by can mean like a literal road, but also just like, this is a road that is less traveled by metaphorically, because this isn't something that I'm supposed to do. I'm going off the path and not in a artsy, cool, like self-growth way, in like the opposite of that way, you know? Let me know if that made sense in the comments below. I love the last two lines of this verse. It's definitely not positive, but I just love the way that this idea is stated. What started in beautiful rooms ends with meetings and parking lots. This is a juxtaposition. Juxtaposition is when things are set side by side for the purpose of comparison. This is showing the progression of this affair. I'm assuming they met in a beautiful room. There was beauty around them. I'm assuming there was people around them and they could freely go wherever they wanted in that room, probably at a party or something. But then that beautiful thing, instead of blossoming and allowing for more beautiful things and beautiful settings to come to them, it went the other way. It went the road less traveled, and now they're meeting in parking lots. That's like super shady. Also, this is a direct reference to the song August, which I've already analyzed. I'll go ahead and link that for you guys. In August, there's the lyric about like meet me in the back of the mall. That's when I had like a mini freak out on camera, and I was like, oh my god, you guys, this is totally about cheating. And I had like an existential crisis because I love the song August so much, and I didn't want it to be shrouded in a negative context of cheating, because I like just want to enjoy it as a cute summer romance, but it's not a cute summer romance. The last two lines are really depicting how not good this is. That's not a way to live in secrecy like this. You're going to shady places. You're just meeting in parking lots. Like, no. Go pick a relationship where you can go and be in cute rooms and like do things outside. You know what I mean? Those two lines are just showing the progression of the relationship, and it's not going up. It's just going down. The phrase beautiful rooms also just reminds me of the song that Taylor Swift did with Zayn. They're not related in any way, but I just enjoy talking about Taylor Swift lyrics, so I'm just gonna mention it to you guys for a hashtag fun fact. In the song that Taylor did with Zayn, I Don't Want to Live Forever, there's a lyric that says, I've been looking sad in all the nicest places. And I remember when I first heard that, I was like, wow, I can definitely just imagine that. You know, you're in a beautiful place all dressed up and you're like internally you're sad. I just immediately thought of that lyric when I heard it started in beautiful rooms, ends with meetings in parking lots. I love how Taylor always uses the setting to convey something important. It just metaphorically lets us know what's going on, and I just really appreciate that. I think there's definitely an art to that. In this song too, it's not just a setting, it's showing you the progression of something, and it's reflective of the state of the relationship, but also the ethical state of the relationship and the internal state of the people involved as well. So I just really appreciate that, and I like respect that immensely. Verse 2, and that's the thing about illicit affairs and clandestine meetings and longing stares. It's born from one single glance, but it dies and it dies and it dies a million little times. This is a great verse. Something that Taylor does a lot is she discusses very intense things using language that's very simple. It kind of feels nonchalant. She did this in the song Cornelia Street a few times. I'll link that for you guys. I analyze that song very in depth. What I'm referring to here is the phrase, and that's the thing. What they're doing is obviously heavy for the protagonist because there's an internal struggle. You know, they're like, I can stop whenever I want. There is an unbalance, there's an uneasiness present, but the phrase, and that's the thing, just kind of belittles everything. It's taking this very intense thing that's affecting the protagonist a lot and just kind of diluting it down to a form that's more manageable to think about. So that's why she's like, and that's the thing about illicit affairs. Talking about it like it's a nonchalant thing. And clandestine meetings, clandestine just means something hidden. Okay. So the word clandestine means something that's secret, but when I look it up in like a legit dictionary, I'm gonna read this to you guys. I'm pretty sure Taylor just like memorized the dictionary like casually. According to a legit dictionary, clandestine is something that is kept secret or done secretively, comma, especially because illicit. You guys, it literally, like it says the word illicit in here. Like I love dictionaries, man. They're wild. I love that the word illicit is in this definition. When you look it up, you really understand how much of a forbidden sort of thing this is, because clandestine meetings, it's not only a secret meeting, it's a secret meeting because it's illicit. And we know that illicit is something that is unlawful or not permitted, right? So the secrecy going on here is not innocent. It is done intentionally. Illicit means that you're doing something wrong with the knowledge that it's wrong. So these clandestine meetings have like an understanding underneath, right? They intentionally know they are engaging in something that is not correct. And longing stares. Sometimes longing stares are romantic and cute, but in this context, they are not cute because they are not supposed to be happening. It is illicit. And when you look at the phrase longing stares as a standalone, this shows how much of a slippery slope illicit affairs can be, because when you're just thinking about a longing stare, it can be cute and romantic and just like, this is fate. But in the context of this song, it is not cute or romantic. It is leading to a lot of heaviness and negativity and like not chillness, you know? So it's a slippery slope. If we take that phrase out of this song, it's something cute, but in this song, it's something that led to not great things. It's born from just one single glance. So all of this, all of the events, this whole entire illicit affair started by one single glance. That is such an interesting thing to think about. Just one glance, one little nanosecond, one little drop in the ocean, and it led to this whole thing. This thing that's negatively affecting the protagonist. Head down, hood on. I can stop whenever I want. It's totally fine. I have control. You don't. You don't. But it dies and it dies and it dies a million little times. The word dies is obviously very intense. There's repetition of the word dies. As I say in every single one of my lyric analysis videos, repetition signifies significance. It's very significant that Taylor is repeating the word die in the same exact line. This is just showing how intense the situation is. Let's talk about the word it. What is it referring to? It's born from one single glance, but it dies and it dies and it dies. I think the word it in the previous line, it's born from just one single glance, is just referring to the illicit affair. Then in the next line, it dies and it dies and it dies. I think that's also referring to the illicit affair, but I think it's also just referring to the spark that existed in that glance, because if an illicit affair is dying, I don't know, I never really think about an affair as dying, because it's already something that's not chill and not good. I just don't feel like it's referring just to an illicit affair in that line. I think that what's dying is the spark that they felt, because the spark that they felt was genuine. It was something real. They didn't have to act on it though. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you feel chemistry with someone, you don't always have to act on it. The act of acting on it is what made it illicit. Does that make sense? So like, if you're attracted to someone and you're in a relationship, like, it's natural to be attracted to someone. What makes it illicit for most people is when you act on it. So when it's saying it dies and it dies and it dies, I think it's just referring to the nanosecond of pure emotion that was felt when they had chemistry. Because when you have chemistry with someone, it's a pure thing, right? You can't fake it. But what they did is that they took that pure thing and they made it illicit. They tinged it with an impure circumstance. You know what I mean? I hope I'm explaining this correctly. Pretty much something existed that was true, and the way they went about it, the circumstances in which they carried this out, took something that was in a beautiful room, a pure emotion in a beautiful room, and they just twisted it. And that pure emotion is dying. Also, if you're like engaging in this sort of behavior, the way it's described in the beginning of the song in the first verse, with like putting your hood on and like walking with looking down, you're not gonna have a lot of positive emotions and like feelings and thoughts, right? Again, something that was genuine, and you're just bombarding it with a lot of negativity circumstantially, and also just negativity as a result of what you're doing. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if it does or not in the comments below. A million little times. The word million is kind of the opposite of little, right? A million is a very big and expansive number. Little is, well, it's little. A million little times. Engaging in this behavior is something that hurts, but it's not just one blunt force, just little things. This reminds me of Death by a Thousand Cuts, a song off of Taylor's Lover album that has the best bridge ever. I stand hard. Like, it's dying over and over again. That's very intense, right? It's a very cyclical type of thing that is being described here. And this is just reflective of the very intense and very heavy repercussions of engaging in this sort of behavior. Next verse. Leave the perfume on the shelf that you picked out just for him, so you leave no trace behind, like you don't even exist. Take the words for what they are, a dwindling mercurial high, a drug that only worked the first few hundred times. Leave the perfume on the shelf. So this is just a literal thing that this protagonist is doing. They can't wear perfume because it can be used as evidence that she was with him, that you picked out just for him. This again is reflecting how not normal the situation is. You're getting the other person, you're like getting to be with them, but you're giving up so much. Obviously you're giving up some normalcy, you're gaining a lot of negative emotions, and circumstantially it's harder to just do things, but you can't even engage in the simple act of wearing perfume. When she says that you picked out just for him, it's pretty sad. I don't really want to empathize with someone who is, you know, knowingly engaging in cheating. But if you are just to look at it, that perfume was bought with an intent and it cannot be used for that intent due to the decisions that were made. The choice to engage in that behavior is limiting so many other things. She can't even wear a perfume that she bought. The perfume is just one example, but be assured there are a lot of other things that this illicit affair is affecting. This is reflective of a very intense situation that has a lot of repercussions in a lot of different areas of their life. So you leave no trace behind, like you don't even exist. That lyric is very telling. You know, she has him, she's able to have these clandestine meetings with him, but it's just like she's doing this, but like for what purpose? That pure feeling they had in that beautiful room, it's gone now. Like if it was so pure and if you thought that you should have been together, like you should have just both been single. You should have just both broken off whatever you were in, whichever person was in a relationship, and then tried it to see what would have happened. That would have maybe had a different outcome if they were more honest about the situation. But since this is an illicit affair, it's something that is not pure in intention and in context, it's going to have a lot of repercussions for the people involved. And for the protagonist of this song, she's losing sight of who she is. She's not feeling like she exists. She can't do the things that make her feel like a person. Hashtag existential crisis, but like for real. And that's very dangerous. You can lose sight of who you are. It's not a good place to be in. This sounds very not chill. Take the words for what they are, a dwindling mercurial high. So the words that are said, right? The words that the other person is telling the protagonist, the sweet nothings he's whispering in her ear perhaps. Dwindling just means something that's decreasing in value. Let me actually look it up in a dictionary, but that's how I define dwindling. Dwindling just means gradually diminishing in size, amount, or strength. So this is referring to the words that are said. They're decreasing in value. And the word mercurial, I actually had no idea what that meant. I looked it up. It means subject to sudden or unpredictable changes of mood or mind, and something that's fickle or just something that changes very, very often. You can't really like trust it. So the words that are said, they literally are sweet nothings, right? They have no value. They hold no weight. They also are mercurial, so they're subject to change. They're not written in stone. They are written like on a window that has condensation on it, and they're just writing it and then it goes away. They're like written in sand, and then a wave is gonna come and take it away 5 seconds later. It's not something that's stable. A drug that only worked the first few hundred times. The word drug, that diction is very important. It suggests that there's an addiction here. She's addicted to this person and perhaps to the situation. You know, I mean, it could be like a twisted thing where she knows it's not good for her and not healthy for her, but the fact that she's giving up so much to be with him can be romantic in a very like negative sense, but that's definitely a possibility. A drug that only worked the first few hundred times. These words are opposing. Only worked. The word only suggests that it worked a very small number of times. However, in the next line it says first few hundred times. So she's saying that this is something that only should have worked once or twice, but it's working over and over and over again. Like I mentioned earlier, I think this is the protagonist thinking about it. Earlier she said that I can stop whenever I want, right? She wants to make it seem like she has control when she doesn't. And here, when she's saying that it only worked the first few hundred times, she is making the issue appear smaller, right? Self-preservation. She is not allowing herself to feel and to think about how far gone she is. And the word drug, like if you're addicted to a drug, you don't have control. There's definitely a lack of control here. She is in too deep. She's in too deep. Next verse, and that's the thing about illicit affairs and clandestine meetings and stolen stares. They show their truth one single time, but they lie and they lie and they lie a billion little times. The juxtaposition of this verse and 2 verses prior is very interesting. We're going to compare both of these verses. It's going to be super fun. So the first two lines are the same in these two verses. In the first verse, the stairs are longing. They're longing stairs, right? That's not super intense. Now the stairs are stolen. This is progression of the relationship. So at the beginning, in the beautiful room, they were just longing stairs. It was like more pure. Now the stairs are stolen. They can't be caught looking at one another because that's going to increase suspicion. They can be found out. The word stolen, taking something that's not yours, that's not good. It's also unlawful and not permitted, which is the definition of illicit. In the first verse, it says that the longing stairs are born from one single glance. In this verse, it says the stolen stairs, they show their truth one single time. The truth is known and explicitly understood one time. This is just something, again, people do out of self-preservation. They understand that something's not right. I think that she is trying to explain that like the full understanding of what they're doing happened once. The light bulb went off. This is an illicit affair. This is something that I should not be doing. But after that, it's just little lie after little lie after little lie in her head to try to make herself feel okay about engaging in this sort of behavior. They lie and they lie and they lie a billion little times. The word lie is repeated. Again, that signifies significance. The stolen stairs keep lying and lying and lying. It's just, you're not allowing yourself to acknowledge the truth because it's too painful. And if you fully allow yourself to confront the truth, there's a chance you might stop. And you don't want to stop because it's a drug and you're addicted. It's a very entangled sort of situation. It's very complicated and very confusing, and it's just a lot. It's a lot, a lot, a lot. A billion little times. Again, juxtaposition. Billion is a very big entity. Little, right? The lies are overtaking the truth, and this is because the protagonist is allowing for the lies to take over the truth. She can't acknowledge the truth. In the first verse that I compare this to, the dying occurred a million times, and now the lies are occurring a billion times. There's progression of intensity here. Next verse. And you want to scream, don't call me kid, don't call me baby. Look at this godforsaken mess that you made me. You showed me colors you know I can't see with anyone else. The first line to me indicates that this is an internal sort of monologue by the protagonist. And she is directing this towards the guy. She's like, don't call me kid, don't call me baby. The word kid definitely shows that there's a difference in power dynamic here. She doesn't have the power because she's the kid. And then the word baby, it could just be like a romantic thing, but she doesn't want to have pet names. I'm going to interpret them as like pet names or whatever. And she's just like, don't use these pet names on me. This is annoying. It's also just like disrespectful at this point. She's over it. Like all of your sweet nothings, all of these words that are dwindling and just fickle are just making me a mess. Look at this godforsaken mess that you made me. Your words and your sweet nothings and all of these things made me a mess. You showed me colors you know I can't see with anyone else. So that indicates to me that there really was something there. You know, I don't personally think they should have acted on the thing that was there, but there was something there. They have like a connection that is unique because she's able to see colors with him that she can't see with anyone else. This shows that she's able to experience things with him that she knows that she can't experience elsewhere. But she's mad at him for a lot of different reasons. I think she's mad that despite all of this intensity and negative imagery associated with this affair, she still recognizes that she has something with him. I don't know, y'all. Last verse. Don't call me kid. Don't call me baby. Look at this idiotic fool that you made me. You taught me a secret language I can't speak with anyone else. And you know damn well, for you I would ruin myself a million little times. Don't call me kid, don't call me baby. Those two lyrics are repeated from the previous verse. She really means it. She's like, literally don't call me those things anymore. The phrase idiotic fool, an idiot and a fool have definitions that are very similar. So the fact that there's repetition of words with a similar definition right after one another is significant. It's really driving the point home about how belittled she feels. And she's saying, this is on you. You wrote me in. This is all your fault. Look what you made of me. I wasn't like this before. I used to hang out in beautiful rooms, and now I'm in parking lots and I'm being called kid and baby, and those might be pet names, but still. And also, like, she's feeling like an idiot and she's feeling like a fool. Those are not words you should be feeling when you are with someone romantically. Do you know what I mean? This is showing an awareness by the protagonist. She knows that she has become pretty much like a shell of herself. You taught me a secret language. I can't speak with anyone else. Again, this is reflective of the power dynamic here. He's the one that taught her the secret language, right? So it's kind of like a teacher-student sort of relationship. Not literally, but just in the power dynamic metaphorical way. So she is experiencing things with him that she doesn't believe she can find elsewhere. I think that's part of what is making her stay in this situation, no matter how twisted it is. The last 3 lines really drive that point home. And you know damn well. When she says that you know damn well, again, this reinforces the power dynamic that he knows he has her wrapped around his finger. It doesn't matter that he's making her feel like a fool, because no matter what he does, she's buying what he's selling. She says, for you, I would ruin myself a million little times. She either is in love with him or thinks that she's in love with him or just infatuated with him. She has very strong feelings for him despite the negative context that it's in. She recognizes that he knows that she's all in. She would ruin herself for him. This is heartbreaking because there's such a lack of self-respect here. Not only are you engaging in like a behavior that's not positive, but also you are ruining yourself for a person who doesn't respect you. It's very sad to think about in that context, and she's willing to like become a shell of a person just to be with him. That's very, very sad. It's very heartbreaking. A million little times. So we had that pure feeling die a million little times. We had lies being said over and over internally a billion little times, and she knows that she will ruin herself for him a million little times. So she's in deep with this, and she's aware of it, and he's aware of it, and this seems very cyclical to me, like a cycle. I don't know if there's going to be an end to it, because it's kind of like a drug that she can't get enough of. She's addicted to it, and I don't think she wants to go to rehab right now. I think she just wants to keep using. And that's the end of the song. To sum up, this song is very intense. It's about a romantic affair, cheating going on, and how the protagonist is just pretty much eating out of the palm of the other person, and she's aware of this. And despite knowing that she is losing her sense of self, losing her self-respect, and despite knowing that in the power dynamic she's down here and the other person is up here, she is still choosing to stay in this situation. It's like she's addicted to this sort of thing. This kind of reminds me of the song Hoax, where that protagonist is addicted to the sadness. But when I interpreted Hoax, I really believed it was from the perspective of Betty. This is making me question it a little bit. I'll have my final interpretation in my summary video, but so far I'm just gonna leave it here. Please let me know what you think of in the comments below. What are your thoughts? Do you think this even goes with a love triangle theory, or is this completely separate? Let me know in the comments below. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you found it entertaining or enjoyable or informative, I guess. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, or night, or morning, or like early afternoon. I don't know. Bye!